this is IBM Museum, and I'll be turning around and showing what I have on the bench. I've actually been going through and looking for this system among my other stuff for off and on for a matter of a couple of years. I've had located some of the other systems I had, but I was really looking for this one. I'm going to get turned around and get the internal webcam off. And this is a PS2 model L40SX. Let me go through and show the badge. I went through and cleaned it up a little bit, but I haven't gone through and I haven't fired it on or anything like that quite yet. Looks like the X is actually lost the chrome, but the badge looking in pretty good shape. And this cleaned up nice. This is far and away my nicest L40SX. So that's why I was looking for it. The screen is in good shape, and there's another little aspect that I'll show currently. And I do know that the of course, I didn't expect the battery to be good. I've got all the doors and everything else on this. Still probably need to spend a little bit of time cleaning it up. Yeah, a little bit of dust. And then it even has on the inside of these doors, and it marks what that is behind the door. Say that's still a little dirty. And then, of course, the center compartment. I know it's not any good. In fact, I'm feeling a little bit of the crystalline, like you see. And I think this unit was actually, we'll get to see in just a moment, but it was tilted to have the back edge. And like, that's why I really didn't see it. And I know exactly where it was hiding. This is the NICAD pack, and you can see, like I say, that crystalline shine from that, where this pack is probably not in very good condition at all. But it would be good for me to go through and to effectively get, a replacement, go through and change out the cells or whatever I have to do inside here. I'm kind of interested in going through and refurbishing this. I don't necessarily think it'll ground the system, or I think that the system has the ability to power on, but we will find out shortly. Now, the area that's kind of endeared me or makes this a little bit more special as well, like say that screen, I could clean it too. I'm having that ring light. In fact, I think I can just work with the ring light being, here's the badge on the inside. That's, of course, probably in even better shape. A little bit hard to hold the system, but it's ultimately a clamshell. Even has the older style sides that would go down just like a clam. And here's the front panel. Then I've actually got the keyboard loose, and that's just by undoing some latches and screws underneath here. I've got that stuff off in a bag on the bench, and we just lift this out at the front and it hooks into the back. And we're going to go through and move it ultimately a little bit like that, just to kind of show. And you see the CPU there in the lower right hand corner. It's got a FPU i387SX. Could also have the i387 SL for a lower power, and that would have the later code mask that Intel did for its 386 DX or 387DX FPUs. But there are the sims, and this is actually it's like kind of ironic where I found it, because these sims are actually modified from the server 320 and 520 RAM. These are 16 megabyte modules. And Peter went figure out how to go through. I can link all the pages, how to go through and modify these and make them into a, you kind of see the black off to the right there. You see that little black wire with a solder. And that's just a kind of a handle for me when I do those things, when I modify them, that I use a piece of wire wrap, and just it's an easy way for me to grab onto and hit it with the soldering gun. And that's those presence detect bits, the 4 that are off on that side of that sim, and it makes it into an 8 megabyte module. You have to go through and notch the center a little bit as well. It's nice that the L40SX has metal tabs, and these are sims are a little bit harder to find for these units, and they're notched a little bit higher in the, you can see where I just took a round file, notches up a little bit higher than what the standard is. And they do that, and you can actually cut out the center of the plastic slot, which these are kind of that baby blue in color. You can cut down that notch as well. But I choose to kind of leave the machine as original as I can and work with the parts I add on. And I want to pull that. Of course, I know that I have a pretty good solder job there, but that is that modification where I have a little bit of wire wrap and the insulation on the end, so I can just hold on to it with some needle nose or whatever else, or even my fingers, to do it right, and solder that in place. And these, again, are ultimately a 16 megabyte module. And there's the FRU. They used to be pretty common. And like I say, that's the irony of where I found the system was by the PC servers, the 320 and 520s that I have, that this is close by them. I looked everywhere else and didn't find it. And we're actually going to go through. I'll lower the one door here for the display, and there's a command, and I think I've got Windows 3.1X on this. I'll go through and I'll connect up the video capture just so we could switch over to that if we maybe wanted to do that. And I'll plug in power. Now, of course, I'm plugging everything in before I kind of show the drop in the doors. There is a PS2 connection on the. Okay, it told me mic muted for a moment. There's a PS2 connection that's on the back of this, but that is for a mouse, not anything for a keyboard, anything like that, or not necessarily a true keyboard for this unit, although there is a box, and I even have a little track point. It's actually it's a mouse that converts into a trackball. You just turn it over, kind of really unique that IBM did. And I've got one of those somewhere, and I need to pull it out for demonstrating. But the there's a video by UXW Bill, and I'll see if I can find that. He did years and years ago. There is the external keypad, and this actually plugs into the mouse connection of the L40SX. And then you have the daisy chain connection for the mouse to be connected. And so just for giggles, I don't think I'm going to go through and connect anything like the communications cartridge that I also have here. And I think I've shown this before. I can go through and link to the page, link to all these pages, but this is for a little 8-bit adapter you can put in there, like a token ring board or something else, to get your L40SX on the network. Here is the cable that goes with that. It actually fastens into the side here and then on the back of the L40SX. And so we're going to get the mouse connected. I'm trying not to tilt my head so much so the mic doesn't mute on me. Okay, we'll get the mouse connected. And lastly, we will get the power. So we got this rat's nest of cables that piled up. I wasn't careful when I connected everything. Got all my cables tangled. Let's go through, and it's a back here for the power connection. At least we see, and of course, poor battery levels, but we saw there's little LCD indicators down here. And we're seeing that. That's really hard to see on that. You can see on the reflection of light, you can see that LCD over here and see that it's kind of doing just a 1 bar of fill. And say inside's real good, but that screen is in great shape, or what looks to be great shape comparably. And then all the LCDs go through and kind of update there. It's got the hard drive indicator. And I'm not seeing anything right off the bat. It may be. And okay, I did see. Okay, heard beep beep. Now I don't know the battery. There's a backup battery that's in here for the settings. And I don't know the conditions for it. I'm certainly not seeing anything on the screen. I'm going to switch over just to see if it's set to VGA. Oh, yeah. So it's set to VGA output. And as it is, it's wanting a starter diskette, which I should have been a little bit more careful and had on hand. I don't think I have I don't really readily have a way to go through. Now for the, oh, okay. So this, what that is with the VGA connection, and I'm pointing here, I'm not on the screen. Okay, so it dropped this into ROM basic. So with a VGA connection to it, starting it up, it defaults to external display. The system knows enough to go through and to bring up an external display. So we got dropped into ROM basic, and I am clearly going to need to get, and as I say, I'm not really situated with my other L40SXs. I don't think, oh, do I have a unmarked diskette that's hanging around the other L40s? Good thing I just brought all that stuff in here. So we're going to do a Control Delete. And let's see. I hear diskette drive running. Wow, some of those. Okay. So do we have another diskette hanging around? Among these systems? No, we do not. I've still got the screws out on those. So I should have been a little bit more prepared with the wow, those keys are, I'll have to work with that keyboard a little bit. And wow, I wasn't even aware that I had the internal webcam still off. So yeah, I wasn't even visible for any of that. But I've gone through, and that's a non-system disk or whatever else. I'll just have to go through and read that and go through and get it's actually a reference disk. It's not a star diskette for the L40SX, and get one of those built up and working so I can go through and boot this further, get it configured. But I thought it'd be good even to pull it out and to kind of see what condition it was, make sure that it's still able to boot. I'll go through, actually I can go through, now that I'm not doing the video capture no more, we're going to go through and see what condition that screen, the built-in screen, is at. And of course, I had the page back behind me because I was wanting to go through and see some of the settings for, I got the initial beeps, but it's still set to an external display. Something here. Oh, okay, no. It's all of my intensity. Okay. But yeah, that screen looks great, actually. backlit and everything else, but I've got to go through and configure that system. So maybe with another video, and maybe I can go through and find my little trackball convertible mouse in the meantime too. Go through a little bit more. I was actually surprised that I don't have a, I haven't run the uh, info, the SIT, system information tool. I haven't run that on an L40SX yet. I looked through the list, my playlist of those devices, and I didn't run it even on the older system. So once we get this configured, I'd like to go through and actually run the WinSit program and go a little bit further with that. But that's the L40SX I found. I was really glad to lay my hands on finally, because I've just searched off and on for the last couple of years, not been able to locate it, didn't know where it was. And we will get through and get it cleaned up a little bit more, get those work on the keys on the keyboard a little bit more, and get to where it can boot, because I know it has like a Windows on there. I've got that 18 megabytes of RAM. I've got that special driver on the hard drive that it has. It uses the 2 megabyte as EMS memory. So I'm anxious to kind of see that a little bit more. But we're stopped by not having a reference diskette on hand for this model. I didn't go through and prep enough for the video. That's fine. There's ability to give videos later on, and I hope everyone liked looking inside there and seeing those modified sims and things like that. So this system is going to be up on the bench a little bit more too. So if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and click on that like button, and as always, subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. But this is IBM Museum. That's all I have for now. Thank you.